I'm Yolanda. I've been a bus driver with Columbus City Schools for 15 years. I love it. It's flexible. I was a single mom with 4 kids, and I needed the flexibility and the hours. So being able to work a split shift was awesome. Making sure that you make contact with each kid every day, it changes them, changes me. Columbus City Schools brought a lot to my life. I believe I'm a family. We're a family. I really enjoy what I do. And it's not just about the kids. You have teachers, you have employees, and they all contribute to what we do best here, and that's educate. Actually taught me how to drive, taught me directions, north side, east side, west side. I didn't know where I was going when I first started. Now I know everywhere, the whole Columbus. Tuition reimbursement, I was able to go to school. Come join us. Apply now at ccsjobs.org.
This is the first annual event that we've partnered with Columbus Police Department on a one-day basketball clinic. Officer Michael with the Columbus Police Department, he reached out to me to promote some positivity with police interaction with the Linden community, to get their faces out, because these are officers that patrol the Linden area. And the youth see them and understand that you don't have to feel any type of apprehensive or negativity if you run into them.
One, I love playing ball. I'm from this community. I went to Gladstone for elementary school, and my dad actually lived out here, so spent a lot of time out here. I went to church at 19th and Cleveland. Spent a lot of time up on the north side. This is really a good opportunity to always, come back to the community, serve, allow our youth to see the human side of just being a police officer.
The vast majority of our officers are here to do what they're supposed to do, and that's protect and serve.
A lot of officers are really here for the service part, right? It shows that, we are the community as well, and they're having fun, and they're being part of the community, and they're letting our youth see, it's not all enforcement. There's a lot of service that goes into being a Columbus police officer. I took over the passing station with bounce passes, chest passes. So that's how we get our games together, is that we practice and we get better and we get better.
Our players, to have them here in a position of leadership, giving back to the community. Chris is heading to Virginia State University on a full scholarship. He was able to say that to the kids. To have the kids be able to see Philip, which is a phenomenal basketball player, but also a phenomenal student in the classroom and will be heading to college after this year. To have him come back and give back some words, and them be able to see their Linden community leaders.
I think it's a great opportunity to be here for them, and to be here as their mentor, because I have 15 siblings, younger siblings at home with me, and I just treat them like my own little siblings, and it's fun working with them, knowing that I can give what I learned back to them, so when they grow up, they wouldn't have to have the same struggles.
That little orange ball can take you places and open up doors. 2021, 2022 school year, that was over $300,000 in scholarship between 7 seniors. Some for basketball and some not for basketball.
I started playing ball at 5 years old. I went to St. Charles, played ball there, got some opportunities for the next level to do college. Ended up taking an academic at The Ohio State University. Put in the work, do the things you need to do. Practice your rebounding, practice your shooting, and then when you think you're done and tired, do some more. Make sure you're taking care of your academics, because a lot of times, it was for me, the academics is what will take you to those next levels and get you where you need to go.
My name is Lolita Vaughn, and I am a special ed instructional assistant for Columbus City Schools. I have been employed with the district for 11 plus years now. I chose to work for Columbus City School because I like helping children and families. Coming from a background of being a home child care provider for 12 years, it just fit.
They see themselves when they look at me. Most of our students, are African American, and there's not a lot of males in education. Me being in that role, pre-K teacher, being one of the first teachers that they see, I know I affect change. They see it, they see a positive role model, they see a positive male, positive figure in their life.
This past graduation class was my first class of 6th graders. So they graduated last year, and one of the area high schools has a really cool tradition where they ask their former teachers to come back and give their diploma, and I was the only middle school teacher there for this particular student, and so I got to hand her a diploma, and that was probably the most memorable experience.
The district has actually provided me a lot of tools and resources. I have the latest technology currently in my classroom with the Clever Touch board. I also have the ability to get my master's degree through Columbus City Schools and take additional classes for my coursework for absolutely free and incorporate it into my teacher schedule.
I chose to work in the district because I grew up in an inner city school, and I met a school nurse that was a nurse of color, and I wanted to be in a school district that had more students that were minority, so they could see that they could succeed in whatever field they chose to be in.
They have continuous trainings and workshops that we can do at our pace online through Public School Works. They also have a no-cost out-of-pocket college tuition that we can go to school to obtain our degree.
Everybody is cheering for everybody. Everybody is rooting for everybody. Everybody has one goal, and that's to educate our students. Everything focuses around our students, and that's the biggest thing. That's why I'm in Columbus. That's why I wouldn't leave Columbus. There's a lot of room for growth. You're going to continue to learn. You're going to meet so many people. You're going to connect with people. If you desire to be an administrator, you can go that route. If you desire to be in a TOSA position, a teacher on special assignment, you can go that route. You're going to grow.
You get a lot of different diverse pockets in Columbus, and I think it says a lot with the district as well. Whatever community you find yourself teaching in, you are impacting a certain community. I find myself in the east side impacting a certain, and I know friends in the north and the west side that are doing different work with different populations of students that it's really rewarding.
If you love working with students and family from all walks of life, then come join our team. The opportunity to be a part of a great team is here. I cannot say enough about friendships that I have made with so many amazing people. My family has grown, and I love it. I can't wait to meet you, and welcome to our team.
My name is Sandra Santos, and I am the proud principal of World Language Middle School for Columbus City Schools.
My choice was deliberate. I'm a product of Columbus City Schools, so I understood from early on that Columbus City Schools is a caring community of educators. As an instructional leader, I have an opportunity to form a student's future. And so through forming it, I work with social workers, teachers, parents. And so as the instructional leader, I can implement various instruction intervention that will help to support students.
So one of the specific resources that I thought was super powerful for me to be a first-year principal was a principal coach. The principal coach role really helped me in the supports of budgeting, knowing how to manage my time, knowing how to support my community, knowing how to build that culture and climate, and knowing how to get my students ready, because even in middle school, as a building principal, my kids have to be ready for the next level, which is high school.
So I always try to let my kids know that they are one of my kids, and I'm going to treat them as if they were my own. And so I think just having that sense of community and giving them a sense of belonging, and I always let them know too that even when they leave me, they will always be one of my students. And so no matter how far removed or how far away they grow older in life, they will still always be one of my kids. And so just that sense of community and sense of belonging, and letting them know that they matter and that they're important, even when they're not at their best sometimes, they still matter and they're still very important.
Columbus is a great place to live and work. Our town has grown into a major urban area. Columbus is the 14th largest city in the country, and so we've grown into a major urban area. However, it still has that small town feel. It has something for everyone.
The diversity in Columbus, whether you're in the city or in the surrounding suburbs, diversity makes us stronger. And so I think that's one of the things that makes Columbus very special. The opportunities that Columbus has afforded to me, and they took a chance on me, I say take that leap of faith and come to Columbus.
I would say you owe it to yourself to work for Columbus City Schools. You will have a rich experience of whatever you choose to do. If you want to work as a teacher, if you want to work at the building level as a secretary, or if you want a central office position, it is a great place to come to network, to hone your skills, and to not only that, but to pour into people.
We are educating future doctors, lawyers, educators, and entrepreneurs. Our students are very important. I tell my students daily that they were great before me and they continue to be great after me, and I mean that because our students have made my teachers great and they have made me great as well.
One of the most things I appreciate about the City League is just everybody just show love. They care about me. Some of the players I enjoy playing against this year is Dylan Swain, Cortez Freeman, the two guards from West, and Trey Perry. And I say that because they're high, competitive players, and they give me a matchup.
I really do feel in the City League we have some of the best coaches. Me being a City League alum myself, I get to relive those moments every day from practice to games, and I'm very proud to be a head coach in the Columbus City League.
I shout out George Harold, Ajon Francis, and Lamarion, because them just like older brothers to me on the court.
A lot of his success is credit to his teammates, but it's also a credit to his leadership. We're all like brothers, and they all want to see him succeed as well.
Some things I appreciate about Coach Chuck is just how he is on and off the court. Like on the court, he tells us it's the difference between liking a game and loving the game. Don't be a part-time basketball player. Then off the court, he's a really big role model because he's just not a coach to me, he's a dad. Just someone I can call on.
Dominique Akins is a special kid, kind of knew his family off the court. And the relationship me and him have is bigger than basketball. We talk about a lot of things outside of basketball, and just to see him evolving in these last 2 years and what he's doing this year just goes to the testament of the type of kid he is. Very hard-nosed, and he's very special to this program, especially after losing to Mr. Basketball, and team that's won a city and district championship, and Walnut Ridge has always had the next guy ready to step up, and for him to be doing what he's doing in his junior year makes me feel proud to say that Walnut Ridge is in good hands.
I say I want to start engineering just because that's just something I've just been looking forward to since I was a young kid. And that's what my brother went to college for, so he just inspired me to do that. When college coaches come see me, they see that I can score the ball well, I can pass it, play defense. I got a good attitude.
College coaches should recruit Dominique Akins because some of the things he's able to do and escape out of trouble, you can't teach that. What he's doing this season, averaging over 29 points in his junior year, seeing double teams being physical with him, I think he has all the tools to be successful at the next level. I know a lot of coaches probably spend a lot of time preparing for him, and the biggest jump from his sophomore year to junior year is he's able to adjust to that. So I think college coaches will just leave Walden Ridge after watching Dominique play and just see the ultimate competitor he is on both ends of the floor. You know, he's doing big things now in his junior year, so I can only imagine what's going to take place in his senior year. I think he will be ready to, once he touches the floor freshman year, to make an immediate impact to whatever university is lucky to have him.
This is our third year for Say My Name event, and what is powerful is that we have over 300 girls come from 18 different schools, grades 4 through 12, to empower them and to show them that they have a voice and that they could be their authentic selves in any space. It's very important that we have high school students here intermingling with middle school students and elementary students so that they have a goal and they see where they can be and they get excited about graduating.
People to look up to, like student athletes and stuff, and they have a good future for themselves. And that's something I want to have, a good future.
To me, this event is a good way for young girls and older girls like me to come together and see what we all can do as a whole group and team.
What we want to do is break stereotypes for young girls and make sure that, you know, being loud and being joyful isn't seen as a negative, but a positive of expression through art, through painting, through dance, through song, through hair care classes, so that they have great self-confidence, great self-esteem, and they have a great self-direction in life.
It is an opportunity for us to celebrate our young girls, to acknowledge them, to amplify their voices, to hear them. We want them to know that we appreciate them, we love them, we see them, and we are here to support them.
And once we all come together at this event, it's all of the girls in Region 2 to see each other, to have common conversation, to understand, you know what, I do have a voice. I am worthy, I am valued. The beauty of being at the art museum is to see the art that takes place.
I enjoyed the painting, like I really enjoyed the painting, like the self-portraits. I enjoyed that they gave us free stuff, you know, lip gloss and gifts and stuff when we came, that the energy was good and that they welcomed us.
It's good because you get to talk to new people and share like what you have in common. It was pretty fun outside. We learned karate and it was a pretty awesome day.
What an awesome opportunity for our elementary girls to see that middle school and high school girls are able to share and have conversations with them.
I like that I could be an example towards them because, you know, they're still growing up. Well, I'm still growing up too, but, you know, they look up to us and, like, we're role models for them.
I think it's good to know, for some young ladies, to know that you're not alone and that it's not always about, like, the bad things and that we can all come together and make something positive all together. We can help each other and not make it envious or a competition, and that we're all here and we're on the same boat.
I think today, with battling so many negative connotations on social media and how people use social media, this gives them an opportunity to post positive things and to say, I belong, I matter, I'm loved, I'm nurtured. And so it's that.
Yes, I left a mess now.
Okay, so will you be checking or do I need to check? That's what I'm trying to, well, both. We both do. We will both do. Make sure, right. Okay. Okay. All right. Is everybody ready? We'll be going live soon here. All right. Good evening and welcome to our Academic and Facility Alignment Committee meeting. I am Dr. Tina Pierce, chair of this committee. We will start out by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Even though it is not on our agenda, we will do that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now move into roll call.
Dr. Tina Pierce.
Present.
Board Member Jennifer Adair.
Present.
Board Member Michael Cole.
He'll be down in a second.
Muhammad Ali.
Present.
Joaquin Bean.
Present.
Elizabeth Kasem Turner.
Present.
Dr. John Kellogg.
Present.
Beth Kinney.
Present.
Dr. David Levine.
Present.
Tracy Robinson.
Present.
Keisha Whitfield. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We'll now move to approve the minutes. Were there, first, can we take a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second? I think we had the second from Turner. We had the motion by Adair, second by Turner. We'll open the floor for discussion. Any revisions or changes needed for our last meeting minutes? Seeing none, we'll move to approve those. I don't think we need to do a roll call with each individual, so let's do a joint roll call. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those not in favor, same sign. Anyone who needs to abstain?
Abstain. I wasn't here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kellogg. We appreciate that. So we'll move forward having our meeting minutes approved. Now we'll move forward to, we kind of went out of order a little bit. We'll move forward to approve our agenda for this evening. It consists of an academic overview, which will be provided by our Deputy Superintendent of Academics, Ms. Catherine Mosier, and a facilities overview, which will be provided by Dr. Maurice Woods. We putting it out there in the universe, so soon you shall be. And we will definitely give time for this committee to provide comment and question after each presentation. Is there a motion to approve our agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
So Adair, seconded by Robinson. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anybody not in favor, same sign? Anyone abstaining? We move forward with our agenda. So we will start with our first item, which is our academic overview by Ms. Catherine Mosier.
Good evening to the committee. I'm Catherine Moser, and I do have the pleasure of serving as the Deputy Superintendent of Academics here in Columbus City Schools. In this overview, I'm going to share some information about our board goals and give you a snapshot regarding current performance. And then I'm going to also share some information about our academic vision and where we want to go in Columbus City Schools. And then turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Maurice Woods. As you see on the first slide, this is our theme for this year, Dream Big and Achieve More. Very excited about the theme for this school year. In CCS, we are committed to setting higher standards for our students and staff and supporting them to achieve those goals. Approximately 6 years ago, the Board of Education and district leaders went out into the community to better understand what our community values. And this graphic was created at that time to portray the attributes that our community said were most important for students to possess when they graduate, whether they are heading to higher education, the workforce, military service. So we continue to aspire to be a world-class model of public education and ensure that all students are portrait-ready graduates. The attributes, as you see on the screen, adaptability, communication, creativity, critical thinking, global empathy, and technologically literate. We believe that these attributes continue to be our North Star, and as you see on the screen, the hopes, dreams, and aspirations we have for all students. Our Board of Education has adopted 3 goals that really serve as the compass for our work in academics. They are to improve early literacy, improve student performance in mathematics, and to improve our graduation rates, or what we often refer to as closing opportunity gaps. So first to literacy. Certainly our commitment to literacy is unwavering. We acknowledge its profound impact on student lives. And from kindergarten through 3rd grade, we know that students are learning to read. And from 4th grade and beyond, students are reading to learn. The research is clear that students who are not reading on grade level by 3rd grade will have limited access to their future education. And for that reason, we measure our board goal in literacy at 3rd grade. We recognize the pivotal role of mathematics in preparing students for high school and beyond. And we're placing a renewed emphasis on mathematics proficiency with the introduction of this goal for math that our board adopted in December. So this is our first full school year with the adoption and focus on mathematics. Our goal is measured at 7th grade. 7th grade proficiency in mathematics, measured based on the Ohio mathematics test, Ohio State test of mathematics proficiency. Certainly we know that math proficiency for students across the nation, and certainly in Ohio, struggled to return to pre-pandemic levels. We know too that the national research indicates that passing Algebra 1 by the end of 9th grade is a strong predictor of graduation. And so again, for that reason, we measure our mathematics goal at 7th grade. Our 3rd goal is to close opportunity gaps and increase our on-time graduation rate. These 3 goals ensure our students are prepared to be successful and matriculate or advance to the next grade level through their educational journey. So I'm going to provide a high-level overview of each goal and a snapshot of how we're doing relative to the goals. You will also see a reference to interim goals. So as you read along the left side of this screen, you can see that 3rd grade goal that I mentioned and the 5-year progression from 34.5 in the 22-23 school year to a goal of 44.5 in June of 2028. You will always hear us say that these goals are the floor. We are working to exceed these goals. But again, improving 3rd grade reading is critical to our subsequent academic success, in that transition from learning to read to reading to learn. Again, we'll be giving just a snapshot and some celebrations in several of our goal areas. So the first is early literacy. And to my board members, I would just point out that I'm not giving a full monitoring report at this time. The full monitoring report will be provided by the superintendent according to the schedule during the year. So this is really just a snapshot of where we are right now. So I said that we measure our literacy goal in 3rd grade. Obviously, it would be too late if we only checked in 3rd grade. And so our interim goals, we have a kindergarten, a 1st, and a 2nd grade interim goal to help us ensure that we're on track. And as you can see by the check marks, we are making progress. We are seeing increased on grade level performance at kindergarten, at 1st and 2nd grade. The call out there at the bottom is important. Of course, the more students who are on grade level in kindergarten move into 1st grade ready to learn, move into 2nd grade more prepared, and by 3rd grade, when we measure that proficiency, you're seeing that we're up 7.1%. Another piece of good news, we are continuing to see a steady increase in reading proficiency, and the green bar may actually go up just a little bit further. We have students who took an assessment already at the beginning of August, and so we'll receive those scores before the first day of school, and we anticipate that that green bar is actually going to tick up even a little bit more. So certainly while there are, we see growth and there's reason to celebrate and believe that we are moving in the right direction, 41.8% is not acceptable, and we will continue to work until every student is reading by 3rd grade. I'm going to transition now to math. So I mentioned earlier that 7th grade math is, goal is set there so that we can really monitor and intervene to ensure that we have students ready to take algebra in 9th grade. And again, you see that call out that when a student does not successfully complete algebra in 9th grade, it is a significant factor and very predictive towards on-time graduation. But what you do see from the snapshot is that we are making progress. Every grade level, 3rd through high school, has increased performance since 21-22. But as you can see, we still have a very long way to go in mathematics, and this is why through this committee and at our board meetings in monitoring reports, we will be diving very deeply into mathematics and talking more about our theory of action relative to math. I'll pause there for just a moment to share that next week we have invited all of our grade 4 through 7 teachers to a math symposium. We're very excited about that. It's the first professional development centered on mathematics that we have had since before the pandemic, and know that the professional development, the focus on math will help us to begin to see those foundational gains that you saw in literacy just a couple of slides ago. Which takes me to our 3rd goal, which is around closing opportunity gaps, sometimes called the graduation goal. We set our goal based on the number of students, the percentage of students who graduate in 4 years. And so we, in our monitoring reports, go into great detail with the Board of Education around our theory of action related to matriculation. And for the committee, for our listening audience, when we talk about matriculation, what I mean by that is the progress that students make as they move from 9th grade to 10th grade, 10th grade to 11th grade, 11th to 12th. And we assign students to what's called a cohort, a graduation cohort, when they enter 9th grade. So for students who will start 9th grade in just a couple of weeks, August 21st is coming up. Our students who are entering 9th grade, that becomes their 9th grade cohort, and we will measure their progress to determine the percentage of students who are graduating from high school in 4 or fewer years. Some good news here as well. We have seen an increased percentage of students moving from 9th grade into 10th grade on time, 10th grade to 11th grade, and 11th grade into 12th grade. Overall, our graduation percentage is up 1% from 21-22. And our summer graduates are not in that count yet. So we have summer graduation on Friday of this week, and students who complete the graduation requirements, walk across the stage in August, will count in that graduation cohort. We can go into more detail in future meetings about graduation, but I will just call out graduation is always reported a year in the rears or a year behind. And so we are reporting on this slide an increase from 21-22 of 1%. Again, our summer graduates are not in there yet. And so one last comment on our graduation pathway. When you get access to this deck, if you are interested, I have a link there that describes the 3 different categories that students must complete in order to graduate from Columbus City Schools. So there's a great little graphic there that describes the credit attainment, the courses that students must complete, as well as competencies, and what are fairly new to us in the last couple of years, and those are the SEALs that students must also complete. So when we look at graduation and we are monitoring on-time matriculation, we're not looking just at the number of credits that a student earns, but also whether they are completing the competencies and earning the SEALs, because all 3 are required for graduation. We know that some of the uptick in performance and results is due to the fact that we are making gains in attendance. More students are coming to school. Certainly during the pandemic, attendance suffered, and it was tough. It was tough on students. Frankly, it was tough on adults to return to in-person school. And throughout the state and frankly the nation, we heard a lot about chronic absenteeism. And so what I'd like to call out here is that all 6 of our regions improved their attendance rate. We also decreased the number of students who are chronically absent. And at this time, I'm going to share just a short video that will give you a snapshot of where we are going in our vision for academic success in Columbus City Schools.
Hello, I'm Dr. Angela Chapman, your proud superintendent and CEO of Columbus City Schools. As I walk through the halls of our schools, I see the boundless potential in each student's eyes, the dedication in every teacher's actions, and the hope in every classroom. These are the moments that remind us of why we are here. Today, I'm excited to share our vision and transformative plans for our district's future. We are embarking on a journey to enhance and truly revitalize our learning environments. Our goal? To expand enriching programming that resonates with our students' hearts and minds and meets the evolving needs of our community. The traditional learning spaces of yesterday are no longer enough. Our children deserve better. This drives us to reimagine and redesign our educational environments, ensuring that each space is outstanding and inspirational. We are committed to maximizing our resources to enhance academic and extracurricular programming, including a stronger emphasis on the arts and athletics, areas vital for nurturing creativity and teamwork. This pivotal moment for our district demands bold action and visionary thinking. As a former teacher and a parent of a CCS student, I am deeply and personally committed to this cause. Every student deserves optimal learning spaces that meet educational standards and support the growth and development outlined in our Portrait of a Graduate attributes. It is our duty as a district to take this necessary step. We owe it to our students and future leaders to provide spaces that inspire and empower them to excel. Let's seize this opportunity together and create a future that our children deserve. Thank you for your continued support and belief in our vision. Together, we will make Columbus City Schools a model of innovation and success in education.
So on this slide, I wanted to call out just 3 bullets that really emphasize the themes that you just heard in our video. We seek to expand the enriching programming that resonates with our students' hearts and minds and meets the evolving needs of our community. We seek to maximize our resources, allowing us to offer more robust academic and extracurricular programming, including a stronger emphasis on the arts and athletics. And we seek to create dynamic learning and teaching environments that advance student achievement in the 21st century and beyond. So as we transition now into an overview related to our facilities, I just ask you to anchor on this slide because I think what is very, very exciting, the potential here at this table with this community is really to ensure that we make future decisions related to facilities driven by the academic needs of our students. And we have not always done that. And so to have community input and your voices at the table to help us deliver on this vision, I thank you. And at this time, I'm going to turn the slides to my colleague, Maurice Woods.
Real quick point of order. So let's anchor right here for a moment with our vision of CCS. Thank you so much for sharing that presentation. While this is the community's first time probably engaging with this committee, this is not the committee's first meeting, but this is the committee's first meeting with our administrative team and to receive this type of information from our administrative team. So would like to open up the floor to provide our committee members with an opportunity to ask any questions. Again, I will echo what Ms. Mosier said. Please understand that this was an academic overview, that there is additional information that could be shared when we move into a deep dive, but this overview is meant to give you an understanding of where our district currently is through an academic lens and where our district is headed. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So we will open up the floor for questions. Dr. Levine.
Thanks. So with the 6 attributes for the graduates, which I think are fantastic, are there initiatives in terms of pedagogy and curriculum to sort of nurture that happening effectively in the classroom?
Yes, so what I didn't share this evening, certainly we could look at in the future. In addition to our goals, our board has also adopted guardrails. And one of those guardrails is that we must ensure that our curriculum, our instruction, and the daily experiences of students in schools is aligned to the Portrait of a Graduate attributes. So yes, to the specific question, we have developed curriculum. We're in the process of continuing to develop curriculum at all grade levels so that teachers have go-to resources that reinforce those attributes. Thank you.
Thanks.
Great question. Additional questions? Yes, Ms. Kinney. I don't know if you prefer Beth, but we'll, Ms. Kinney.
Yes, so the question I have with that first point is how are you determining what does resonate with the students? Are they giving surveys? How are you getting that feedback?
So we are getting better and better at collecting that feedback from students. We have a student ambassador program that meets regularly with our superintendent to give input from the ambassador perspective. Our ambassadors represent each of the high schools in the district, and we are working on increasing those engagement opportunities for students at other levels. We also, through our Panorama survey, which is students and staff complete twice during each year, we do have some baseline information from that survey. I could bring that in the future to show some of the themes that would help to inform future decision making.
Thank you for that question. We have another question from Mr. Ali.
Yes, my question is on our last vision there, preparing our students for 21st century and beyond. As an engineer, I've been in the tech industry, and now that we have a lot of companies moving to Ohio, how are we preparing our students? Is there like with AI introduction and so many other techs, what are we doing to prepare our students for future and also beyond?
Absolutely. So certainly, when I talked about our math goal, we are talking every day with a new partner coming into Columbus, sharing the new opportunities that students will have, often in STEM fields. So we do have STEM programming in some of our schools. Again, happy to bring some additional detail about those programs. But we're also really looking at how we redesign our high school experiences to better engage students and to better prepare them for the jobs that will be available in Columbus and beyond. Whether they choose to go straight into the workforce or through a higher education pathway. So more and more career technical education pathways, all high schools will have more robust career pathways.
Thank you.
Our next question is Ms. Turner.
Thank you, Catherine, for the presentation. Also, thank you, Dr. Pierce, for letting us know, ensuring that there will be further conversations more in depth. So my question really is pertaining to special education and diverse learners. Will we be receiving more information specific to those learners and those students and goals for those students?
Yes, so I do have a handout for the committee this afternoon that it's based on where we were at the beginning of June, and so it may be some slight shifts from what I provide to you this evening. But in this report, it does give you information related to each of our student groups, including our students with IEPs. So you can see how they are performing, as well as I would name our English learners. Are about 20% of our students in Columbus City Schools have an IEP. and receive special education services. At the close of the 23-24 school year, so just about 8 weeks ago, over 20% of our students were English learners, with over 1,000 newcomers, new English learners joining our schools just during the second semester. So some information provided, but certainly happy to bring back additional data around our students with IEPs.
Thank you. That would be appreciated.
I think I saw a question from Board Member Cole. Did you have a question?
I didn't have a question, just a very quick comment. Thank
Yes,
you so
sir.
much for all of your participation this evening. I incredibly look forward to working with each and every one of you. I apologize for being a bit late. I was upstairs on a Zoom call with curriculum conversation around some future activities that we're thinking about engaging in. So I appreciate working with you all, look forward to it, and more importantly, look forward to the work that we'll convene together to not only close an achievement gap, but close a belief gap. Close a belief gap. I think you got some preliminary data on how our children are exceeding and succeeding despite some of the things that they experience outside of the four walls or within the four walls of our schools. So I look forward to it, and let's get it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So are there any additional questions? Dr. Kellogg?
I was just wondering if you'd talk a little bit about teacher voice, particularly in strategy development, what's working in classrooms, how they're responding to the direction, how you keep them engaged in a two-way communication.
Absolutely. So let me be clear that the results that you see in early literacy are because of the work of our teachers and our school leaders, together with parents and community partners who are providing immense wraparound services. All of our teachers over the last 18 months have participated in a very rigorous and robust literacy study called LETTERS to teach, this is aligned to the science of reading. I'll just note that Columbus had already begun to invest in training our teachers before the state mandated that teachers will take the training. And so teachers have participated in that LETTERS training. They also have told us that with the adoption of grade level aligned materials during the pandemic, teachers asked for more professional development to learn to implement those grade level aligned curricular materials. And so we were able to respond to that through regular coaching cycles, and we are truly seeing use of high quality district adopted curricular materials in literacy. Now, as we move into building that same foundation in math, we have teachers who are on our advisory committee and Teacher Voice actually as part of the planning for the math symposium that I talked about happening next week. So we have incredible teachers and leaders, and we absolutely tap into their voices and listen to what the teachers share that they need. And we have many teachers who have been more than willing to give additional time to help advise the district level committees on curricular enhancements.
Thank you so much for that question. Any additional questions? It's Mr. Bean.
Yes. So thank you for the presentation. Very informative. How do you envision pre-K as sort of laying down the foundation for the vision of CCS?
Oh, I didn't even ask you to ask me that question. Certainly, our commitment to expanding pre-K is one of Dr. Chapman's one of the strongest beliefs that we hold. Certainly, we know that preparing students before they enter kindergarten will put them on a firm foundation to be successful during their school age time. And so with the successful passage and the commitment on behalf of our community to support our district levy last fall, we are able to expand pre-K by 6 additional classrooms. They will open at the end of the month, but that is just the beginning. Certainly, expanding 6 gives us an opportunity to provide pre-K in a number of schools that didn't have pre-K service before. But yes, just as your question, just as you phrased your question, we want to see more pre-K.
Great, thank you.
Any additional questions? Excellent, Ms. Mosier. Thank you so much for that presentation. Again, committee members, I ask you all to be very familiar with this administrator, as she will be bringing academic updates to us throughout the time that we will be together. We appreciate that. If there are additional questions that you all have as we move forward, we want to make sure that we get her those questions in advance, so we are well prepared to, again, dive deep into those matters together as a committee. We will now move to the presentation from our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Maurice Woods.
Thank you, Dr. Pierce. Can everyone hear me okay?
We can.
So let me start by, first of all, thanking you all for your role and your participation in this community, in this committee and community. I think the work that we do is expansive. And I also want to welcome you back to the 2024-2025 school year. I come to this district very excited. I've been here for a couple of months now, and what I can say is there is a lot of amazing work that's going on in this district, and we should be proud of what's going on in Columbus. However, there's significant opportunities for continuous improvement. And that's what I hope to bring to the table and to this conversation. And I'll start with where Ms. Moser finished. It's really around the vision. So as I look at the vision, I look at it from a lens of how can facilities and infrastructure support that vision. Even as I'm listening to the questions, right? I know the questions were around academics, but I'm listening from a lens of what role does facilities and infrastructure play in addressing each and every question that you asked. So I think this committee is very important in making sure that not only do we anchor on the vision, but we align on that vision from a facilities perspective, and I would argue from all the other operational and support services that we have here in the district. What I'm going to do today, I think the best way to start that conversation is to really talk about what our footprint looks like. And the best way to do that is looking at data. I'm not going to go through all of the data. I had a handout, and I'm sure that over time we will do a deep dive into the data. But there are some definitions that I think we should all level set on. All have a same or similar understanding. I'm going to walk through a few of those, and then I'll call out the importance of the third bullet on this particular slide. So in the presentation that you will receive, there are some definitions. On the handout that you have, the first 4 columns I think are pretty self-explanatory. Generally speaking, when we talk about facilities, we look at the columns that I call the bookmarks, the capacity column, the maximum number of students in a school facility, and utilization. The percentage, how effectively are we utilizing those facilities. Those are very important, but there are a few columns in the middle that I think are worth explaining a little bit. So in this district, we have what we call legacy buildings. And these are buildings that, as you can see by the definition, Literally, we haven't invested in those buildings. Many of them are decades old. So as you reflect on some of the questions that you were asking, new technology, pre-K, what are we doing? We have to ask the question, how can we accomplish that in these legacy buildings? And we have to think about what do we have to do to these buildings to bring us into the 21st century. The other two definitions I want to call out, because I think they're important, is students that transfer in and transfer out. If you look at the data, there are a large percentage of students that do not go to their neighborhood schools. I think the lottery system that we have in place contributes to that. I think there's benefits to that, but there's also challenges that come along with that. So as we're thinking about this work, as we're thinking about aligning with academics, it's important for us to recognize that, there's some other related topics, i.e. our lottery system here in the district. Transportation, those are topics that are gonna have to be woven in to some of these conversations as we think about aligning our academics, facilities, and infrastructure to the vision of the superintendent as we move this work forward. So I think at this point I'll pause and I'll open for questions. And then I'll just close with just a comment around what my early thoughts are around facilities and capital and how we start to think about how we better align with the academics vision. So through the chair, or through the Dr. Pierce, if it's okay, I'd like to pause for questions now.
Yes, let's do that indeed. Thank you very much for this presentation, Mr. Woods, and we have a question from Mr. Robinson.
Mr. Woods, welcome to the district. Glad you're here. I want to ask a question that kind of combines all that I've heard. We're looking at facilities, but I haven't heard the word online once. Have you considered beefing up your online education so that we can compete and produce portraits of graduates online?
So we have these conversations internally. We really kind of see this as an academics, facilities, and IT conversation, right? We believe that they're really woven in together. And as we're looking at making investments in our facilities, right, we have to think about how do we incorporate the upgrades for the technology that's needed for the 21st century. So it's part of that conversation. And outside of this room, IT is usually at the table as we start thinking about these things. I appreciate the question.
Yes,
Yeah, I had.
of course.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that question. I do just want to make sure that everyone understands that in addition to what we refer to as brick and mortar school buildings, that we do offer an online academy program for students in grades 7 through 12. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Additional questions? Additional questions?
So,
Mr. Bean? Oh, Mr. Bean?
I'll go. So as far as the percentage of students transferring in and out from neighborhood schools, do you track, I assume you would track the reasons of why that's happening. I'm sure there's a multitude of reasons, but does it look different for every school building, or is there a pretty consistent picture, across the district?
I think that's a good question, in all honesty. I don't have the details or the insights around what the reasons or the rationale are. I do believe, however, that the fact that we have a lottery system, I think a lot of students and families take advantage of that, depending on, what school or the programming in the school that they're trying to pursue. But I don't have the specifics. I can take a note and bring that back as a follow-up.
Great, thank you.
Dr. Kellogg?
I want to kind of spin off the technology question. So access and equity to technology is a major component of any student's educational experience, whether or not they are working fully remotely at home or whether or not it is part of their regular instructional program. Infrastructure ties into that because the wiring, the networking, all the pieces, then the device itself, the management of the device itself, and then the academic program. So is there kind of a baseline of expectation around access and that students will have to support their academic program, regardless of whether they're at home and working or in a classroom or in a hallway or at lunch? Is there kind of a baseline for all students will have X?
So I'll start with that, and feel free to jump in. I feel like I can't hear myself.
We can hear you. You're fine. You're good.
So as I reflect on your question, I think there's two responses to that. So I'll start with the pandemic and the funds that were leveraged in the district to get us to a 1-to-1 student ratio. We had ESSER funds, which also allowed us to improve the like our Wi-Fi capacity and those things within the building. So significant investments were made over the last few years, leveraging that funding source, which, however, goes away in the next month or so. So we have to figure out how to continue to maintain the level of technology that we have in place now. So I know the IT department is working on revising our model to adjust for the funding drop from ESSER. And we have a model in place that allows us, we believe, to refresh the computers and keep them fresh. That's during the school day. There's also this component of what happens when they go home, or what is the neighborhood like. And what I've seen in other districts, haven't been here long enough to assess it, but there are significant partnerships that often occur to allow districts to make sure that there's locations in communities, there's hotspots in communities, there's access to those that can't afford some of the wiring upgrades. So I believe that some of that work has to be done in partnership and in collaboration with people outside of the school district.
Thank you. Board Member Adair.
I just want to add on to that to say, you know, because of the passage of the 2023 levy, we were able to stay a 1-to-1 district. So our community did step up for our students in that aspect, and so we were able to overcome the loss of ESSER because we know that that's important. So we thank the community for supporting that levy to stay 1-to-1.
And just, I can tell you, I think that that was one of the most important decisions that was made by the school district and the board to do that, because there are other districts out there that have hit a funding cliff. And what I mean by that is they're looking to significantly cut costs and cut people and do everything that they can to support that technology in the classroom. And I think we're in a much better place and a position than many other districts nationally.
Thank you so much for that, Board Member Cole.
That's all right. I'll take that too. I'll echo my colleague, Board Member Adair, in her comments about community contribution. To add to that, the city, during the time of ESSER, gave us millions of dollars to provide that 1-to-1 support through IT in helping us build that network. We invested significant dollars during ESSER and post-ESSER for hotspots and being able to provide those opportunities. And not just through that kind of access at home, so to speak, but even with community partners, the faith community and others, our recreation centers and others. So,
thank you. Additional questions? All right. Well, thank you again to our
I'm sorry.
oh, I didn't see your hand up. I'm sorry, Ms. Kinney. Yes, I apologize.
So just on the descriptions on the table, you explained legacy, but on page 3 and 4. FMP, I'm assuming is Facilities Master Plan.
That's correct.
And then what's investment? What does that mean?
It's investments that have occurred or are occurring
Okay.
in the relatively near past.
Cool. And then what does this count of factors mean, or?
So I posed that question to my team
Okay,
on my
okay.
way in. And basically, there were other factors that were on this spreadsheet. It was a really large spreadsheet. So they consolidated that column. But what we did is we wanted to take a look at the legacy buildings, and we wanted to try to rank those based on kind of the oldest and those that were the most needy. So the 3s are the ones that need the most work, and I don't want to say they're the oldest because they're not always the oldest, but they're probably not in the best shape. So it's just another factor that we use almost as a weighting factor within that category of legacy buildings.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. Additional questions? Board Member Adair.
Sorry, just one more time. The investments, some of the schools are showing as investments. Again, that was because of ESSER money, but also we're starting to work into our new permanent improvement levy, which again was something that our voters supported, and something that we'll be seeing more investment language on this sheet as we work through, which is actually part of the committee that I chair, the Equitable Transparent Resource Management Committee. So we're excited about that.
Thank you for
Anybody
that.
have a question, Madam Chair,
yes.
about what permanent improvement is? Does anybody just need any clarity on that? Are you clear?
Everybody,
You're good? Okay, awesome.
awesome. And you know, are we Dr. Robinson now?
Not yet.
We close, graduation is soon, right? Okay, all right. Mr. Robinson, did you have an additional question? Okay. All right, so thank you all for.
I have one additional. I apologize.
Yes, Ms. Kinney.
Okay, so can we note which one of these have the pre-K? Or any of these, because it just says middle school and ES, MS, HS. You have Ann?
I'll bring that information to
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And Mr. Ali has a question?
Yeah, as I was glancing this report, page 2 of 4, the Superior Elementary School stood out for me. The utilization, I think that it's a legacy build, and the average enrollment was supposed to be 230, I believe, 330, and the capacity was 275. So it looks like the utilization for that build is over 20%. Am I looking at it correctly, or?
Yeah, you see the 120% in the column?
Yes.
Yes. So you are saying that correctly.
Is that like overcrowded, or is that, what is the plan?
You know, so it's, I don't know the building layout, to be honest with you. So in some instances, we used to call them portables, but we could add capacity to a school by having a temporary facility or a temporary building on the school. I'm not sure that's the case for this. I can check on that, but I've seen in some instances where we were able to add capacity to a school's footprint by bringing in like a portable unit where we can hold additional students.
Could that also be class size, average class size? If you're calculating capacity as 25 students per classroom, but you have 28, and you have 15 classrooms, 3 times 28, you see the math. So that may be a function of class sizes.
Can you go back to the definition of capacity?
In my experience, capacity is usually, you say X number of students per classroom. So if you use 25 per classroom, there's 10 classrooms, you say capacity is 250. But if you actually put 28 students in there, then you're over capacity by that amount. So it could be, that could be the factor that's showing it's over capacity, maybe the class sizes.
Do you want to go through the definition, Mr. Woods?
Yeah, I mean, so I can reiterate what the definition is for capacity. I do want to follow up with you specifically on that question because I think it's a really good question. And unfortunately, I don't have the answer for you today. Capacity is the maximum number of students. You all, you know, you can see what's on the slide there. specific space requirements for programs like music, art, special education, and English language learners. So that's how we're defining capacity.
And thank you for that. And again, at this point, I will note that this is, again, an overview of our facilities. I think the main goal of the presentation that Mr. Woods brought was to help us level set with definitions, to provide some examples of those. And so, again, as you all come up with questions as they relate to not just our facilities, but also our academics, please do share those in advance so our team can be prepared to come back with that information. The questions that remain unanswered today, they will go back and have meaningful, engaging conversation with their colleagues to make sure that they're not only bringing you a response to your question, but a data-informed response. Are there any additional questions? Thank you all. And so just from this meeting, we see that our Academic and Facility Alignment Committee is very engaged. And so at this point, I want to remind our committee members, but also inform the community that the purpose of our Academic and Facility Alignment Committee for the Columbus City Schools Board of Education is to assist the board in ensuring the district maintains a shared vision of academic excellence that aligns curriculum, staff development, safety and security measures, facility planning and management, and technology integration in support of our district goals, guardrails, strategic plan, and portrait of a graduate. The committee shall oversee all the district's construction projects within the facility's master plan and make recommendations to the Columbus Board of Education prior to a vote to appropriate funds. All activity engaged in by this committee, as authorized by our charter, shall be in accordance with the board's goals and implemented through the board's guardrails as set forth in our district's strategic plan. I remind the community, or I inform the community of that purpose and remind our committee members of that purpose because our next step, having gone through this overview of our academic, where we are, where we seek to be, our facilities, level setting of definitions, is to, in our next meeting, really begin to identify areas that we need to do a deeper dive based upon not just the comments of our administrative team, but also our committee members. Some of those areas include our lottery system. How and what are the benefits and the challenges impacting our academic outlook and our current academic performance? Transportation was also noted. Again, what are the benefits that we are getting from our transportation policies and practices, and what are the challenges that we are facing as a result? Online education. Again, as we think of expanding beyond brick and mortar, what will it take for us to actually become, and Mrs. Mosier, I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly, but I'm going to give an abbreviated version of our academic vision, a model of success and innovation. So what will it take for our online education, again, to become that model of success and innovation? As our committee members indicated, and our administrators shared data with us around our students that are currently getting IEPs. We're at that 20% mark. What is the experience that our students in that particular community are having? How does that correlate or respond or connect to our lottery system, our transportation challenges, our online education model? What is the interdependency that we as a board and committee need to start looking at to ensure that those students are getting the equitable resources that they need? Again, our committee members asked the questions and our administrators shared that with over 20% of our ELL students coming in, sometimes at the very end, towards the end of an academic year, what type of resources do those students need? And how, too, are they impacted by our lottery system, our transportation system? I would also like to add that another area for us to examine and to do a deep dive around is also our extracurricular activities as they may relate to music, theater, athletics, our gifted and talented programs. And of course, we cannot discuss gifted and talented without having the discussion around equitability and also the testing measures that we are doing to identify students for those areas. And so, kind of given that context, our next charge and thing that we will examine, our internal auditor will actually help us with that, Mr. Kevin O'Connor. We will start to determine, to see if we can identify a standardized program assessment evaluation that allows us to look at these various areas that we've identified tonight. And again, knowing that is not exhaustive, but it will relate to our lottery system, our transportation. It will take into account the student populations that we have here and the unique resources that they need to be successful. And it will hopefully look at, again, keeping that model of success and innovation at our forefront, but embedded within our goals, guardrails, and portrait of a graduate. So given that work that we will be doing, I wanted to definitely take the opportunity to introduce, again, our internal auditor, Kevin O'Connor. Mr. O'Connor will hopefully at our next meeting be sharing some of the elements that we should be keeping in mind as, again, we seek to create a program evaluation assessment that allows us to dive deeply into these topics. The last couple of things that I want to take just kind of a point of order on are, one, to give each of our committee members the opportunity to introduce yourselves to our community. Again, while this is not our first meeting, this is the first time that we are televised for our community. As our board is being very intentional about engaging our community, we think it is important that our community members know who you are, maybe why you are serving, and if there's a particular community that you represent in terms of your service here, please do share that, but would like to provide each of you with 2 minutes to, again, introduce yourselves, why you are serving, and if there is a particular community that you are representing. Would we like to start at the end with Dr. Levine?
Hello, I'm David Levine. I'm a retired education professor. My last job was at Otterbein University. New to my engagement with the Columbus City Schools and looking forward to learning more and getting involved with the work.
Hi, I'm Joe Bean. I'm a transportation planner. Currently work for the Ohio Department of Transportation. I live in the 5th by Northwest neighborhood of Columbus, where I also serve on that area's commission, represent Region 4 of the district. And as a new parent, I'm looking to be, engaged in the educational process.
Good evening, everyone. Michael Cole, 11-year veteran here on the Board of Education, former parent of children in the district. And my why is very simply and very powerfully our mission statement that each student is highly educated, prepared for leadership and service, and empowered for success as citizens of the global community.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Caslin Turner, former educator, licensed principal. I would say my why here is inclusive excellence. As a student who had an IEP in school right now for my doctorate, I'm all about ensuring that all students have the appropriate resources and accommodations to be successful.
Hi, my name is Tracy Robinson. I'm here for a number of reasons. The first one is I'm a big proponent of public education because I am a product of public education. And I think about young people in elementary school, particularly in the Linden area. I serve as a commissioner in the Linden area. And 2 things that I've been working on in the elementary schools there is increased attendance and reading. I could tell you more about that later. I also serve as a deacon at the New Salem Missionary Baptist Church, where our pastor, Dr. Keith Troy, has charged us to make a difference in the community where our church sits. So I've been doing that for 25 years. So my sons attended Indianola Elementary when Dr. Moser was the principal, so we have connections that circle all the way around. And I'm just very humbled and honored to be here with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Muhammad Ali. The reason why I joined this committee is because, to begin with, I'm a father, and I have 2 boys in the district. And also, I'm representing the Somali American community on behalf of the Somali American community. Thank you.
And my name is Dr. Tina Pierce. I serve as the Vice President for our Columbus Board of Education, and definitely excited to not only collaborate with this committee, our other committee members, but in our entire community, our educators and all of our staff members who again, when I use the term educators, that is a very broad term for me, because I believe that anyone who has the opportunity to impact and influence our students at any given moment, you are an educator. So again, my commitment is to work with our educators in our community to ensure that our students are prepared for success.
My name is Jennifer Adair. I'm a board member. I'm also a CCS graduate, same as Dr. Pierce, she didn't say that, and a CCS mom and the daughter of a teacher in CCS. I chair the Equitable Transparent Resource Management Committee and sit on this committee and our policy committee, and served as the board president for 4 years. And I am here for the sole purpose of ensuring that we create a school district that supports our students, improves their outcomes, and really produces the type of student that can lead in this next generation. And I'm really excited to be serving with all of you, and I'm excited that we have this new format for committees, because I really think it's going to demonstrate to the community that, you know, we get it, we know what we have to do, and we have to make some really tough decisions, and we have to have some really hard conversations, because we have to act, and we have to act yesterday. And so I'm excited for this work, and I just want to thank all of you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. So I am Beth Fairman-Kinney. My job is I do community engagement with Franklin County residents on behalf of the auditor. I'm the proud parent of 2 Columbus City School students, so I'm really excited for 21st, right? I'm also the child of a retired City of Cleveland school teacher, and I think some of that experience of being a child as my dad was working in the Cleveland City schools does kind of give me some background. I love, through my previous work, I have seen how the relationship with our schools and our neighborhoods and all the supports within that with the family and the neighborhood leaders, and that's kind of why I'm really excited to be part of this work.
John Kellogg. Currently, my representation here is on behalf of Columbus State Community College, where I work with K-12 partnerships. Just ended my first year in that role, so I'm getting more and more engaged with the work here in Columbus City Schools, and always impressed. In my former life, I was a longtime K-12 educator, most recently 10 years as superintendent in Westerville, where as one of the suburbs, function of win-win, we educated about 6,000 students with Columbus addresses. And so I've always had an interest in that overlap and looking at the disparities of students and their educational experience based on zip codes and what we're able to deliver and what Columbus City Schools is able to deliver, and just being part of a community that's trying to better K-12 education.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to introduce myself. Catherine Moser. I serve as the Deputy Superintendent. Been with Columbus City Schools for 3 decades. Long-time teacher. Spent most of my career as a principal at Indianola and Sullivan. Was also a leadership intern a long, long time ago. Then moved into central office, where I've been involved with leadership development school improvement, supervised principals. And so I come to this role now really as an equity-centered leader. I choose to serve here. I have chosen Columbus City Schools to really ensure that we create systems that disrupt inequity, and that I have the opportunity to serve as a system architect. And so appreciate the opportunity to be here and to support this committee. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name's Maurice Woods. As I mentioned, I'm relatively new to Columbus City Schools, but I come to this seat with over 25 years of diverse background. I spent the first half of my career in the private sector, and I've spent the last 18 years working in K-12 education, either directly in school districts. I've served in a few large urban school districts, but I've also worked in small nonprofits that was focused on educating students, predominantly from urban environments. I come to this table excited about the opportunities here in Columbus. I do believe that the academics side of the house can only be as strong as the operationals and support services that are provided to the schools. So I'm looking forward to this work and looking forward to helping the district move the needle on student achievement. Thank you.
And on behalf of our entire Board of Education and our superintendent, as well as our treasurer and internal auditor, we would like to thank you all for serving on this committee. We know that oftentimes it is a thankless job, so in advance, we will thank you, your families, your circle, and your friends, because we know that in doing this work, you will need to lean on them. So again, thank you for serving our district, our present and our future students and educators. I will share a couple of announcements before I take a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting is actually scheduled for Monday, September 2nd. That is actually Labor Day, so the offices will be closed. So please watch your emails for a rescheduled date. We will, again, be asking you all what dates will work best for your calendars. So please watch your emails for that. You will also see when you come to that meeting some safety and security measures that will be taken. For all of our board meetings, we will ensure that there are security present and that there will also be scanning of individuals and bags as we walk into spaces. Again, that is to promote safety for our meetings as we move forward. So please do not be alarmed when you come to our next meeting and those procedures are in place. Know that we are doing that, again, to be consistent across all of our buildings and all of our activities. Should you have any questions as it relates to those protocols, please do not hesitate to reach out to our board members and definitely our district leadership, and they will be able to respond to those questions. Are there any other matters for the good of the order? We are at 7:20. I will take a motion to adjourn and give people back 10 minutes of their time.
I move to adjourn, Madam Chair.
So we had a motion by Board Member Cole. It was seconded by Robinson. And do we have any abstaining, any noes? Please say aye. No, abstaining, no. No, so on that, we will move to adjourn in agreement. Thank you.